Dr. Rupa Huq.
Thanks, Chair. My heart always swells with pride when I hear the word Acton. And I worked at the BBC when everyone was paid from Ealing. Villiers House was on all our payslips in those days. So my first outing at this annual thing, so nice to meet the three of you. Tim Davey, I'm guessing there's no danger you will ever be on the ballot paper in Old Oak and College Park ever again?
There is no danger of that.
Good, because it's coming into my seat, so...
It was quite a few decades ago.
I know, it's the last century.
It tells you about the voodoo of this. I mean, it was quite a few decades ago. But yeah,
it was the last century for all of us. So that's
I'm glad others are active in that area. Thank you.
So really, what I wanted to ask about is the talent bill, the on-air talent bill, and then I've got a little bit about the other stuff people have been talking about, what might be for the chop with this challenging, financial, painful process that Richard Sharp described. So. The wage bill for on-air talent this year is flat, isn't it? But the number of 150,000 plus people has gone up. How did that happen? Was that by cutting middle management or something?
Are you talking about on-air talent? Are you talking about
the published on-air talent?
You're talking on-air talent.
The figures we've got is that...
you're absolutely right. So overall about flat, the senior people's slightly up. We've had the answer to your question is, and that's just part of the overall, I mean, these numbers, I have to say, if we took everyone down to 150,000, I know this is highly sensitive territory, that would save the BBC 5.1 million out of 3.787 billion. Just to be clear about, because these are in no way being flippant about it, because they're sensitive, it's important, we show restraint, but their numbers are quite small. In terms of, and that those.
Oh, isn't that right?
Sorry.
The number
yes. Now I'm coming to that. Yeah. I'm just giving you the quantum to start off with is about 5 million of spend. 100. If you took everyone down to 150, you're into quite a small number. And those top, I think it's about 74 talent deliver. They're in the programming that delivers about 40% of our impacts. By the way, they're actually from a purely ruthless kind of how do you get audiences. It's a very effective way in which we spend our money. Having said all that. We are trying to show as much restraint as possible. The answer to your question is, the market is as lively as it's ever been. I've been in this committee many times saying, well, Mr. Davey, you've got no market for news talent. I don't think we can quite say that at the moment. Global talent, and the other thing we've got is globally people are trying to poach talent. US salaries are going through the roof. So I think overall, and you've got inflation running pretty high. So I think overall we've done a pretty good job. I think we've seen that marginal increase in the top tier. We've restrained some of the very top salaries. It remains a sensitive subject. I think overall the record of the BBC over the last couple of years since I've got to grips with it is pretty good, actually.
I mean, there's another side of it as well, but people say that it's a poacher's charter, that if it's that transparent, then the opposition knows how much to pitch at to try and lure someone away.
It certainly, there lies the joys of transparency. Yeah, I mean, it absolutely presents.
I know people who say
but it absolutely presents risks to us. We are in a very, very competitive market, and it is sensitive, but people really value great talent, and people who come to us. And I think we're doing outstanding in the world. By the way, there's all this noise around movement, this, that, and the other. Actually, we've had about 3% voluntary redundancy in terms of our presenters. So we've got an incredible base of talent. We've always been a place where you grow talent as well, by the way. And I think we should see, fresh talent coming through. Obviously, there's always noise when we refresh our lineup. So we've seen a bit of that. But overall, I think we're doing a good job in very tough circumstances, by the way.
There has been a bit of an exodus. Emily Maitlis keeps popping up her name, and then also people that have gone to these right-wing channels with zero viewers. I think there's a few of them around. Can you see why, to the public, we've mentioned that there's an almighty cost of living crisis, fuel crisis, whatever. It looks unjustifiable to have anyone on 500,000 a year in a public sector organisation. I mean, can we say that there will always be people who do that job? A few years ago with the One Show, didn't they have a clear out? And they got people who are half price, and now they're household.
And I actually think we've got a good record of doing that. But there is a balance, and I think I absolutely know this is incredibly sensitive. I do think we're in a competitive situation that is different to, if I may, being in a government department or something. We are competing with a very, very live, direct competitors who want to poach our talent. We've kept the numbers fairly restrained. We're below inflation. I think we've done a good job. But I take your point. By the way, you can always make the argument, and it's valid, which is someone can present a programme. But, we've just talked about earlier about presenters who have that connection. They are worth a lot. And, if you're paying the money, you want things you value. So I think we've got the balance right. It's sensitive, it's difficult, and we're showing restraint.
So is the way it's going, if you do your Mystic Meg bit, that you'll have to fund inflation from this very tortured settlement that you've got? Is it going to be going downwards, do we see? What,
the pay bill?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that. I think that's the case, because I think we'll keep, I use the word we'll keep restraint, but we are in a market, and it's one of the bigger priorities for me. Keeping the best talent is right up there. And on a budget of, as I say, on a budget of 3.7 billion of public service income, this is and I don't want to be flippant about it in any way, shape or form, it's a relatively small amount of our budget. It's highly sensitive, quite rightly so. But I actually think investing in that talent is the right thing to do. So I would put that high up my priority list, because they're the people who have a connection with audiences, and they're the people want to spend time with in the morning, on the radio, on the television and others. I do take your challenge that we should be bringing new people through as well, by the way, definitely.
And when the gender pay gap, the disability and LGBTQ one's going down, is that not a bad look to the public?
You mean the pay gap's increasing?
Yeah, and I think there hasn't even been a report since the one that was 2019 and 2020 on gender pay. That's not happened.
No, our gender pay gap reporting is included in our annual report and accounts.
So subsumed. There used to be a separate thing.
So we have the full gender pay gap reporting included and published in the annual report and accounts, and then an equality information report which is published online. So all that information continues
Are you addressing
to be
the fact that these things look to be going backwards?
Well, we have seen changes in our pay gaps. Our pay gaps are relatively low, particularly when you compare it to the national average across all of the diverse characteristics, and if you compare it to our media competitors as well. And what happens when they get low, and when you're looking at small numbers, movements in and out will move those pay gaps up and down slightly. And we're seeing that across many industries as well. It doesn't mean at all that we are, complacent about it. I think we manage and monitor our pay gaps. They're part of our regular monthly reporting, and they are changing because we're seeing different characteristics coming in at different layers in the organisation. So as we drive more to create greater diversity across the BBC, so we've talked a lot about 50-20-12, as we progress and move towards those numbers, what we are seeing is we're bringing greater numbers of diversity into the more junior levels of the organisation to particularly increase talent and invest in that future talent pipeline. We could do more to bring in more diversity at senior levels, and that would also help us on our.
Okay, I'm just having a flashback to when Blue Peter presenter Connie Huq was being paid less than her male compatriots, turn of the century. So I'm hoping it is being addressed, because I think she was.
Anyway, I think there's the earlier question about equal pay.
Yes, true. They're two different things. Any trade union
it's really important. This is really important. We don't with respect. That's why I bite, because you can't equal pay is non-negotiable, legal, and we're not.
Yeah, but it's been going on for a while in your organisation. Yeah, it has happened.
To be fair, I just want to be clear. The numbers we gave you earlier, and we're watching them. We have driven that down to There's always an organisation of 20,000 people. We're at a handful of cases now. One case is too many, but you get my point. I think we have done a good job on that, by the way, and that's thanks to work before me as well on equal pay. On the pay gap, we are better than the media industry by a mile, better than the national by a mile. But I want to say something slightly contentious, which is it's not just about the gender pay gap. It's about what's actually happening within that, in terms of what you don't want to do is restrict yourself from bringing junior people in, driving talent in the organisation, just by solely looking at that metric. So it's really important, we can share this, is looking by level what's happening. Our overall diversity numbers, by the way, are moving in the right direction.
At the boardroom level as well?
I mean, you can talk to the board, but yes is the answer.
And then my cousins in Bangladesh used to always say to me that they listen to the BBC when they want to hear the truth. Do we have any assurances from this new Prime Minister, who as Foreign Secretary was a cheerleader for the World Service? Is that going to be protected? Have we got clarification?
Before the last licence settlement, a conversation I had with the Secretary of State was that if it was flat, it was going to put extreme pressure on the funding of the World Service from the BBC licence fee payers. specifically our duty, as we've discussed here, to provide a valued service to domestic households and to have them pay for content that they may not be consuming themselves is going to be extraordinarily challenging, particularly given the amount involved, $250 million or so coming from licence fee payers. So that is a serious issue that I look forward to discussing with whoever the new Secretary of State is and potentially with the government, because there is jeopardy now where there wasn't before.
Because again, your international reporting from Kyiv.
I understand, and it's a tremendous asset for the UK. It's a tremendous success story for the BBC. It's more valuable now than ever. But there are these very difficult financial issues that have been created by the last settlement.
And lastly, with the young audience content fund gone, I think the BBC is one of the, Damien Green touched on it, last sort of British international standard producers of children's programmes. And all our childhood, we remember Why Don't You and Blue Peter and all those things, Doctor Who, which is a crossover. Is it really the right thing to put CBBC online only in the next 3 years? We've all, as constituency MPs, seen throughout the lockdown, not every family has a plethora of devices, whereas everyone has a TV set with a whatever cathode ray. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we need to tread cautiously. I mean, having said that, anyone with children of that age know that consumption of there's no closure of CBBC. We'll have CBBC. It's just a question of whether you're paying for linear broadcast distribution and the numbers you're getting on that. So all the programming needs to be protected. Newsround, is doing 3.3 million a week, by the way, but not on the, way beyond the channel.
I mean, we can cite examples of people, they don't have a lot of the, do you know what I mean, that the kiddies
absolutely
get around.
No, and I think this one of the great challenges for us is paying for the online distribution. But you've also got all the broadcast legacy. I mean, welcome to the world of transitioning. And I think we need to be careful about how we do that. So
BBC 4 as well, is that right? Because it seems with BBC 3 you went the other way.
Well, but we're not. We're a little bit shameless on this. What I mean by that is we just want to get to the audience. And at the moment, the audience, there is a benefit in having the BBC 3 shop window in linear. But the numbers for that particular age group, by the way, on linear television is extremely small. So we just have to be led by the data. We want to protect children's output. There's no scenario in which the BBC isn't offering CBBC, a full service, all of that. The question is just distribution.
Okay, the Koonsberg thing, I think, get better opening titles. I used to like the on-the-record ones. Snarly Dinosaur, bring that back.
I will pass that on, along with lots of other added value I have had over the last day or two. Thank you.